They did it by first name.
Oh, wow, okay, being different.
Candidate, there you go.
Excellent.
Great, thanks a lot.
It's a chilly 4 a.m. and hundreds of New Yorkers are eagerly queuing for buses.
You excited to go?
Yeah, I am. He's 13 and he's a big Jon Stewart and Stephen Colbert fan.
You know, it's all about being ironically conservative. So I'm the gay agenda.
You're the gay agenda for the day.
I'm the gay agenda.
These people are all heading to the ambitiously titled Rally to Restore Sanity in Washington, D.C. On board their specially chartered rally buses, no one seems quite sure how seriously to take it all.
What are you hoping to get out of the rally? What do you think it'll be like?
Well, I'd like to have fun.
These are the tea bags.
Anti-Tea Party.
The anti-Tea Party tea bags. We think that the Tea Party is essentially toxic people. And we were going to hand them out, but unfortunately when we put them back in the box, we didn't put them back in correctly, so now we just have a glob.
As the miles roll by, it becomes apparent that most of these people are also harboring some more serious expectations from the day's events.
Many other people who you don't want caring about politics are going to.
The country's in a crazy state, and I want to do something about it, which is why I'm on this bus.
I think that a lot of people in this country don't just make decisions based on fear and anger, and I think that it's time that people see that.
What are you writing on your sign?
It's just going to say think.
Think.
Because that's all they have to do. We've kind of forgotten how to think and run political campaigns and run a government. It's just fallen apart from partisan politics, and it's time to just get back to the basics. We know how to do this. It's not that hard.
When this busload of excited New Yorkers hits the Capitol, they quickly find they're not alone. There on Washington's famous mall, over 200,000 people have gathered.
It's an ocean full of people. You look both that way and you look that way, and all you see is people, and you see a lot of love, and you see a lot of hope. So it's magnificent. I'm so happy I came down with my family.
For hours, the anticipation builds, until finally, their unlikely political hero, Jon Stewart, arrives on stage.
What up, what up? Bring it out!
He and fellow TV host Stephen Colbert slip into the comic personas they've become famous for in America.
Tremble! Behold, it is me, John! Me in pure fear form! Tremble before me, John!
Actually, it's just you in papier-mâché form, so it's not really.
Oh, you laugh now, but soon you'll be cowering.
It's all good satirical fun, but hardly compares with the historic rallies held by Martin Luther King and others on the same ground.
How did we get in America to this place where, in order to protest, we have to make a gag of it?
There's only so many times that the public is going to be impressed by getting 20,000 people or 50,000 or 100,000 people together. And the news media, I think, after a point, lose interest in it as well. And I think the transition really occurred during the anti-Iraq war protest.
Jeffrey Stone is a professor of law at the University of Chicago, and he writes on issues of free speech and politics. Jeffrey believes that the failure of the Iraq war protests has forced demonstrators to find new ways to get attention.
One of the ways of doing that, of course, is to get a celebrity involved, like Glenn Beck or like Jon Stewart or Steve Colbert. And that brings people, but beyond that, it also makes it something we talk about. Mass protests without some kind of a gimmick are simply not going to attract the crowds anymore, and even if they do, they won't attract the media.
Back on the mall, people seem more than happy to be part of a gimmick.
Yeah.
Although as I move around, it never takes long for this country's sharp political divide to become apparent.
It's nice to be at a liberal event where it feels like super patriotic, because I feel like a lot of times the conservative movement sort of feels like they're entitled to like the patriot title or whatever, you know what I mean?
Yes, yes. Liberty, freedom, values that are proclaimed as being those that can only belong to conservatives who stand for
people who are willing to like kill people around the world for like...
Right, well, I mean, small government, low taxes are coupled with being things that are really patriotic, when in fact I think that those kind of values are basically representative of not the values of real Americans, but are...
Oh, don't invoke real Americans. That's what Sarah Palin
No,
does.
that's not it at all, man.
Up on stage, Jon Stewart's performance eventually takes on a more serious tone, as he rails against the overreactions and extreme accusations made by politicians and cable news channels.
There are terrorists and racists and Stalinists and theocrats. But those are titles that must be earned. You must have the resume. Not being able to distinguish between real racists and Tea Partiers is an insult, not only to those people, but to the racists themselves who have put in the exhausting effort it takes to hate.
And the hate mongers and the fear mongers, they're the ones that get all the publicity, they're the ones that get all the media coverage, whereas majority of the Americans don't get any coverage because they're moderate and doesn't sell the newspaper or the television ads.
This growing polarization has been a long-running issue, but Jeffrey Stone believes it's now causing a real failure of political leadership.
I mean, I think the real problem we have at the moment is that they're like kids who are fighting, and they've lost sight of the purpose of the game. They're just into the fight. And the problem I think we have now is that in government, we don't have individuals who are trying to solve problems in a constructive way. Instead, they're using governance as politics.
We have to work together. And the truth is, there will always be darkness. And sometimes the light at the end of the tunnel isn't the promised land. Sometimes it's just New Jersey. But we do it anyway, together.
Despite all the talk of togetherness, there isn't much sign of anyone other than Democrats here on the Mall. But eventually I find him, the one Republican needle in this giant haystack.
I see a lot of my fellow Republicans and conservatives who are getting really loud and getting really angry, and I don't really think that anger is a good way to solve problems.
Do you feel that you're in good company here?
I know that this rally is mainly attracting people who are liberal or more progressive or more democratic leading, and I recognize that, but at the same time, I mean, I want to come out to show that, yes, conservatives can also be sane, can also be reasonable, and can also be opposed to calling Obama Hitler.
One of the buses went down one of these hills and got completely stuck on bumpers.
Numan Akram personally organized nearly 100 buses to come to the rally from all over the country. It was all done from his New York apartment overlooking Jon Stewart's TV studios. Numan's been a longtime fan and sees the rally as much more than a gimmick.
Is this rally a joke or is it legitimate political protest?
I mean, let's be meta here. It's a joke, but the joke is also that it actually matters. Maybe Jon's making a move into politics here. He's definitely crossing a line. He's actually has a following, and he has a lot of say and pull and force in a lot of different ways.
I can't control what people think this was. I can only tell you my intentions. This was not a rally to ridicule people of faith or people of activism or to look down our noses at the heartland or passionate argument or to suggest that times are not difficult and that we have nothing to fear. They are and we do. But we live now in hard times, not end times.
How much of this rally do you think is Jon Stewart promoting his own brand, and how much of it do you think is legitimate politics?
I don't know. I really kind of hope that Jon is pumping his brand. Jon Stewart, Colbert, president, vice president, that'd be a hell of a ticket.
Would you actually vote for that?
Yeah, absolutely.
You have to work together. And the truth is,
at times, Stewart certainly sounded like a politician. And with outsiders like Sarah Palin and the Tea Party in the ascendancy in Washington, he wouldn't be out of place. But for the moment, he isn't giving anything away.
If you want to know why I'm here and what I want from you, I can only assure you this. You have already given it to me. Your presence was what I wanted. Thank you.
For today, that seems to have been enough to satisfy everyone.